Rise and shine, my sinners. When Father Evil starts his day, he gets a little deadly. Deadly Grounds coffee has the richest, smoothest flavor you'll find anywhere. It's sinfully delicious. Once you go deadly, you never go back. Order yours at getdeadly.com. Coffee's so good, it's scary.
Welcome to the Epic Tales from the Sewers podcast. Grab yourself a slice, strap into the party wagon, and hang on tight. Give it up for your host, the totally radical, if slightly mutated, Justin.
Right, and welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends, Epic Tales from the Sewers. I am your most excellent host, Justin Cooper, here with a special guest. I've got quite the write-up for this one, so wait for this. If you're a TMNT fan, chances are you have already been familiar with today's guest from his interior pages on the TMNT Macro Series, issue number 4, the Wrath Rages issue, to his covers and flashback sequences in The Last Ronin. He is responsible for the deaths of Raph, Leo, Casey Jones, Donatello, and Master Splinter, but also for the design and co-creation of the next Ninja Turtles from The Last Ronin, The Lost Years, and The Last Ronin 2. Most recently, he gave us an issue of the Battle Nexus where Leonardo fought the original Mirage Shredder. Exciting stuff. He is the creator of the Aggregate, and he's worked on such comics as Savage Dragon, Ghostbusters, Batman, Transformers, G.I. Joe, Power Rangers, Bloodshot, Lego Ninjago, Kanto, and he is the original Bishkid. Welcome to the show, Ben Bishop.
Wow, that was crazy. I've done a lot of stuff.
Can you believe all of that?
Yeah, that's a lot. Did you mention Drawing Blood?
I did not mention Drawing Blood, but
Dude, that's
I
a big
really
one.
enjoyed that series. Yeah, with the ragdolls and all that. So.
Yeah, that's coming out through Image right now. I'm sure we'll talk about it. But
yeah, absolutely. Well, of course, welcome for being here. You may not know this, but you've been on the show 2 other times. Once for the 2024 Turtle Power Granite State panel.
Yeah.
And the other time you actually did a call-in for us during the Last Ronin preview. So
I remember that. I remember where I was doing it because I was like so excited. Because I think it was just audio.
It was, yeah.
Yep.
That was like 5 years ago, Ben.
I know.
Still going strong.
Look at my beard.
Yeah, little bit of gray.
A little bit. 2 more kids than I had then. So.
Oh yeah, right. Well, I mean, one of the things we like to do is kind of get to know our guests a little bit more. And I wanted to ask you how you started off with TMNT, because this seems like a really big one for you. Like, I know you're a Star Wars guy, and I know you're a Spider-Man guy, but, like, how did you get hooked into the TMNT world?
Yeah, I've always loved Turtles. I don't have a memory of not loving Turtles, same as I don't have a memory of like not drawing. It's just like that young where you probably just can't remember. But so it was just always around, and I remember I've always gotten up early in the morning, and I still get up early in the morning, and I would seize the day and get downstairs and like just start eating sugar cereals and watching TV, playing with toys and drawing pictures, and it was always like turtle toys and turtles on TV and probably turtle cereal. And so it was just everywhere. And the characters themselves, like the mutants especially of like the toy line, were hugely inspirational to me. The sculpts were insane. I used to like find all the bugs and different things that were, hidden in the sculpts, and that kind of stuff just like sparked creativity like at a young age. So it was always like definitely heavily responsible for sparking their creativity in the same way like Spider-Man or the X-Men were. But because Turtles had this like vast variety of wacky shit, I think that it really, really got my brain going. So it was something I always loved. And then as far as, are you asking how I got into it, actually drawing it too?
Yeah, I mean that's
Yeah.
that's
I
definitely a
don't want
good
to jump the
question.
gun if you're not ready
Yeah, no.
yet. No. Yeah, so I basically like had always known I wanted to draw comics, and one of those comics would have been TMNT. Another one is Spider-Man, hopefully someday. And so as I was getting better at doing comics and getting more out into the convention world and trying to get my name out there, I was also doing essentially like fake covers to try and get turtle covers. So a lot of my early 11 by 17 prints at conventions were my portfolio submission to IDW to be like, hey, let me draw turtles, let me draw turtles, let me draw turtles. And I did that for like 6 years before they finally let me do a
Wow.
cover. And so it finally worked. I got in on TMNT issue 55. Bobby emailed me and said, hey, Ben, you can do a cover. And I said, all right. And so it was my first one. And then that kind of gave me a little bit of credibility with stores and shops and Double Midnight Comics, especially, who does the Granite Con there in September. They gave me a couple variant covers. Actually, I think we did a lot of variant covers. Did a big connecting set.
Yeah.
Um, we
You were selling them on the
did,
website for a while, I think.
yeah, we did Bebop and Rocksteady Destroy Everything, and so that brought me up another level, another level, another level. So then I was kind of like in the turtle world, and then separately through my own books, got in with the Turtle Master, Mr. Eastman. But that's funny because that's actually separate. But I won't jump the gun again.
Oh, so that's a whole other thing.
Yeah, it didn't even come really through Turtles. I think maybe I was like in his atmosphere because of it, but it's because of my own book.
Oh, that's great. So we were talking about like the action figures and all that. Was there a favorite that you had? Were you like a walkabout guy or like PandaCon or Scumbug? Like who was your
Uh,
go-to?
I think it was probably Mutagen Man. I was
Mutagen.
kind of
Wow.
fascinated by his design. I actually have one in package. It's not like the perfect package. I got it from Steve Levine at Shellback when one of my first signings I did for Turtles, actually, and this was before I had even met Kevin, was with Peter Laird, and
Yeah.
it was with Steve Levine and Eric Talbot and Jim Lawson, and there are two separate ones that I get mixed up sometimes. But I got this Mutagen Man there, and I had them all sign it. And Kevin's the only one I don't have his signature on it, but I'll get it one day.
Well,
Um,
just bring it this September if you end up attending Granite, because Kevin will be there
yeah,
again.
yeah, I'll be there.
So you got to meet Steve first by going to Shellback, and then eventually you got to meet Pete and all that. What was that experience like?
How did I meet Steve? I think I met Steve just by going in the store. I think the first time I went in his store, I didn't say anything to him, and then I came back another time and maybe said something and told him I didn't say anything the first time. He's like, "Oh, you should have said hi," blah blah blah. But like I really done like absolutely nothing at that point. I just wanted to do turtle stuff, and then he invited me for a free comic book day signing with them in the upstairs section, which I have this really cool time lapse of everyone that came through. Super duper busy. And then again, I still only had like my fake cover prints at that point, I think. And Pete was, a guest that same day as well. So I remember being super jazzed that I was going to get to meet him and sign next to him. And I ended up opening the door for him to get into Shellback, and he didn't know who the hell I was either. So he just like walked right past me and gave Steve, it's like, oh, I'll be upstairs. But that was cool too, because in the same way Kevin has had such like this massive like shift in a good way in my life, in my career and all that at an older age, it's just cosmically amazing to me because Pete has had that in my earlier days. Like one of the reasons I ever finished my very first graphic novel, Nathan the Caveman, it's this big 300-page graphic novel, was because I wanted, like, my main motivator was to get the first copies out in time for the Zarek Award grant that Pete used to do, where he would he would grant thousands of dollars to a comic book creator or a book that he chose that year. And one of my friends had actually won it, this guy named Joel Rivers. And so as I was making my book, it was something that very felt like doable. And I didn't
Oh,
get
that's
it.
cool.
He said no, but it was great, like, factor that helped me finish it. So the same way that Turtles had this huge impacted like my creativity and the fact that I was going to make comics, Kevin and Pete showed that like here's what you can do with it, like, and it can actually work, and like it's the most successful independent comic of all time. It's
And
crazy.
that's one of the things I really appreciate about you as kind of like a forward-thinking artist. Like you were just mentioning how you have a time-lapse video of the entire signing and all that. And that's one of the reasons that I've really enjoyed kind of following you for the past, I don't know, 5, 6 years, however long I've been a Bish kid, but you have a really innovative way of presenting things, and it's not just I draw a book, you buy book, you come, I sign. It's no, no, no. We're going to create this whole media presentation. There's going to be videos. I'm going to be approachable because you can get me on Discord, or you can catch me on YouTube, and I've got videos up here to show you the process going through. And I don't think a lot of people are really doing that. And you're really like
Yeah.
a creator and content creator that's a curator of your own personal brand, and it's super unique.
Yeah, a lot of the heavy video stuff is more recent, of course. You might have noticed. I'm getting more into the YouTube. There's my plug. I've got a YouTube channel, Bishar.
Yeah.
Go check it out. But I've been recording everything forever. When
Hmm.
I was in high school, we had like a Jackass. We were called Random. I have a VHS of it. And then I was in a band. We made a band DVD. So I've always had everything. And so that's been the case with drawing too. I'm actually finding on like my Facebook memories, I posted a few today, stuff I don't even remember recording. Like I recorded a time lapse of the very first like this drawing for
Oh,
drawing
nice.
blood. I have a whole time lapse of it, and it's on my Facebook like today, I think. And so that's really cool to like unearth that stuff. And so anytime I'm working on these like things that I know are going to be monumental, like the death of the turtles or these new turtles or anything that we've been doing, even the drawing blood stuff, I think is going to be something that people see someday and they're just like, holy cow. And so I'm just trying to document as much of it as possible. I've always kind of been obsessed with memory and losing your memory and the sadness of all that. I say this is my first book, Nathan the Caveman, but in high school, my senior project was to do a comic book, and I did a 75-page comic book, spiral bound, self-published, like 100 or so copies, and it was called Repetition to Remember, and it was the importance of remembering things because things can stay with you so long as you can. And then that's really the backbone to Nathan the Caveman as well. It's like, why do people make art? It's like so we can learn from it and move forward through time without making the same mistakes. So
Yeah, and it's
I
the
feel it.
oldest form of written language.
Yeah. So I'm just kind of obsessed with that. I think that's where the video stuff came from, even though I didn't know that. And so now I'm looking at like, well, one day I'll be dead, and like, my kids will have document of how I drew stuff, or I put magnets in my electric eraser, or like all these little things you learn over like day after day after day after day of doing the same thing. Like I have ways of moving around the studio without bending my knees, like to just
Oh, no
kind
kidding.
of tilt to move fat, like, and it's because everything is like where it should be, and like it's just crazy. It is crazy. It is like what about Bob level crazy, but it works.
What do they say? It's a method to your madness, right?
Yeah, you need the process. Like, I have friends who get their big gig like doing interior pages, and this happened to me too. I was like thrown to the fire, like boom, opportunity, opportunity, and it's like now you need to learn how to like do it, which you do know how to do, but fast and da 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 da, and like, and that's what will slow down people the most is if they don't have a process. Like, okay, after the rough, I do this, and after that, I scan it in, I file name it this, and blah blah blah. Like,
I
so I'm
forgot who it
obsessed with
was. I don't
that
know if
stuff.
it was Neil Adams, but he said no horses, no cars.
Mm,
Something like that.
that's
That'll
crazy.
slow you down too. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Sorry,
That's
that was
great.
a tangent, but I love that stuff. Yeah.
What was it like doing the Battle Nexus with the interiors? Because it's probably been a while since you did like the full book for a
Yeah.
Turtles book, right? For
Yeah,
the Lost
Battle.
Day.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, for people who don't know, on the last run I did the flashbacks where 3 of the 4 turtles died. And those were kind of in chunks, and the longest one was only 14 pages and the shortest one was 1 page. So it went anywhere between there. But on Lost Years, I came back, but we kind of had a formula where I was doing, I think, 4 or 6 pages, so it got even shorter. And then halfway through Lost Years, there's Lost Day, and they were like, "You're going to do 25 pages." And the way that the schedule always like went behind, and then like landed right when we were having our first kid.
Oh,
And so
yeah.
I ended up doing like this massive 25 page, like, oh my God, again, like, here you go. Like, are you ready? And can you do it? Do you have a process worked out? And I had to do it from home with a newborn. And so I was like, holy cow. So that story has that, like, now it's very special to me because of that. Cause it's like, oh, I'm bringing up these 4 baby turtles at the same time as like we're bringing up our baby. And it was awesome. But now to answer your question about Battle Nexus, everything has happened again the exact same way. History repeats.
Yeah.
We're on the second baby and they're like 25 pager. I'm like, thank you. And then schedule moves a little bit. So how was it working on it? It was crazy stressful. It brought me out of my YouTube retirement, but I think it was good stress. You know, it was like get it done, and it showed that I could. And then that set me up for some stuff I'm working on now, which is like monumentally, seemingly impossible. And so it's all for a good reason. But it was amazing to get to Leo and to Shredder, and obviously to draw all 4 turtles and some characters I've never drawn before. I got to draw the ugly Michael Bay Leonardo, which
Yeah.
was super fun actually. I would have done like a whole comic of that. Uh, but
Just so big and beefy. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, so the schedule was a little bit stressful just because of how things shifted, and then we always knew, they told me in the first email, I think they had a feeling about me, and they just said like, the schedule is very important. Are you okay with this? And then it did move. So what I said okay to be fair, was not the same, but I was still going to make it happen because they needed to keep their dates, because it's a 5-issue book, and each issue is a different creative team. So it's
They
pretty
push them
crazy.
out quick.
It's a crazy undertaking. Yeah. So the Escorzas were working on issue 1 at the same time as I was working on 2. So we would run into stuff like, well, what does this guy look like? What's he wearing? Like, what does the arena like look like? We all had kind of like an idea, and they had provided us with a model. But when it comes to like rendering, is it stone? Is it this? Is it this? It was kind of like, what do we do? But every day you're figuring it out. You're not doing the page to page to page. So it became pretty scary at some point. But I love how it turned out, and it reminds me of like real comics, because I feel like that's what it is being like, go, go, go. But
Oh,
then,
it's like Secret Wars from Marvel from the 80s, and you're like,
yeah,
yes!
yeah,
Every page is like a piece of candy. Yeah.
yeah. And it smelled like, for me, like the first thing I thought, I was like, my Savage Dragon comic doesn't smell like that. But like, for whatever reason, I was like, whoa, this feels like so comic booky. I think it's because I was used to the prestige format of the Last Ronin
Yeah.
issues, especially like Re-Evolution and the first series. And so when I got this one, I was like, holy cow, like, this is like newsstand, so cool. I love that
It's
about it.
nice. And
Yeah.
honestly, kudos on your Savanti Ramiro. Amazing. He just looks so badass when you draw him.
Oh, thanks. Let me actually, can I flip my camera around?
Yeah, sure.
I must be able to somehow. I don't know how. Okay. Uh, oh yeah, I
You may
can do
just
it.
have to move it around and all that. So
I'll show you some designs. So like this was the original like opening, where we didn't really know what anyone was gonna look like yet. So you can see my crazy Krampus Savanti.
oh, look at that.
It's so wild. And then this was, I did the staff, or I helped polish up what that would look like. They had ideas, of course, and
Oh, and you have
notes.
the NECA there for reference too. This from the action figure.
Yes, this is the reference we were looking at.
Nice.
And then there's the arena there, and they really liked that design. And so then we all kind of worked from that. But the idea, as you probably noticed now by what, issue 3?
Yep.
Is that it can change, the interior of it can change, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it can. So I mean, and that's a really good sort of MacGuffin device.
Sorry, trying to change this. There we go.
There we go. And we're back to square one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pivot here a little bit because I definitely
Okay.
wanted to talk to you about that because that just came out like 2 weeks ago when we were recording this.
Yeah, it's in
Um,
stores now.
You should get it. Issue
Yeah.
2, there's I think
Issue
2
2.
covers, an A and a B. So the best cover's the A cover with
The
Leonardo.
A cover.
Yeah.
Here,
You know, and Shredder.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna mess up your whole thing again just to show you something. But
You're
this
good.
is an unused cover, so you can see my rough there for the one that came out.
Okay, all right. So Leo versus the Shredder, and then
And
on
then
the
that,
top it's just Leo with Shredder's gauntlet.
yeah, that's pretty badass though, right?
Yeah, that's absolutely badass.
I like that one.
And
I'll use it someday.
that's a good one with the kind of like the bloody Shredder's claw. I dig it.
Yeah, reminds me of like Savage Dragon issue 1.
Yeah, I could see that where he's sitting there with like just the bloody slash in his face.
Yeah.
So that does kind of bring me to my question. I want to go back to your art style, and I wanted to talk to you about this because you've got a really distinct style. And I was going through and like racking my brain, and I was trying to figure out. I'm like, who are his influences? And I came up with a couple.
Oh, cool. I'd
And
love to hear it.
so this is where I came up with. Um, so Michael Turner, Eric Larson, Paul Chadwick, Mobius, Jean Girard, and some of the Mirage influences. How close am I on this?
Mobius 1,000%. I think he's
That's
in
the
all.
biggest one.
He's in everybody though. I think Mobius and Atoma are in everybody if they've read Akira. You know what I mean? So
Oh yeah, yep.
you can see that in Santa Luca like crazy. Uh, but Santa Luca is actually a big one for me. Mateus Santa Luca.
Really?
Yeah, I'll tell him
That's
right to his
awesome.
face. I've told him. Yeah, he's a huge inspiration to me and influence. But my
I wouldn't
biggest.
have picked that out of a lineup. That's fantastic, and it makes
Oh,
so much
really?
sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, he's. Yeah.
the clean
Um,
style line art, and where I really see your style so distinctively, and when I know it's a Ben Bishop turtle, is when I see the hands and when I see the feet,
mm.
which is just like, oh yeah, that's Ben because of the distinct style that he has with hands.
Oh, that's cool to hear. I like drawing hands. Like a lot of people are scared of hands, like even human hands, but they're super expressive. Um, so him, a big one for a long time, probably my most like influential, like when I was really soaking it in, working on my first books, is Olivier Coipel. Did Thor,
Oh yeah, from Thor way back.
Magic
Yep.
Order, yeah, and he knows it too. I've told him. Um, as far as like the legends, I really love Dave Gibbons and the simplicity. I call it like uh, sophisticated simplicity, like using the grid and Watchmen, like
Hmm.
in everything. Like I love his stuff. I obviously love who else? I don't know. Definitely Mobius.
Gibbons is such a good call too, like with that. I can see it. I mean, he goes a little crazy with the detail. It's not like Bernie
Yeah.
Wrightson crazy, but it's just like I could see you're more minimalist than that, you
Well,
know?
for a lot of that, I think comes from my tools and like my process again, because I'm not using any ink. Like I'm using just a mechanical pencil. All my finals are not even really ink. It's all pencil on paper. I have to push down like really, really hard, keep it really
Hmm.
clean. And so I think that more and more I've been finding ways to say like, is that line needed? Is that necessary? Do I really want to like just fill that with black? Like it's gonna break my hand and it's not needed. It's gonna pull the eye like into this corner. And
No
so
kidding.
it's become like, and Lost Day was a big one to do it. I worked a lot smaller and it was kind of this economy of line. I was like what's the best way? And my storytelling got tighter and what you actually need in the panel got tighter. And then Flash all the way back 2007, I was talking to Olivier Coipel, I was submitting to Marvel, and it was the first time I really got any artistic like critique or feedback that I believed, and it was only because I got it from a few different people, Marvel, Coipel, and he said he's like, you're drawing too much, and I was like, I know, I'm always no. He's like, no, you're drawing too much, and it meant like the detail. It's like Scott McCloud talks about it in Understanding Comics, but if you think about like a Disney movie, like the character is usually flat and the background is like this hyper realistic like painted watercolor or something, or vice versa. Like you need to know where to put the focus, whether it's on the character or on something that's happening back here or on something over there. And if you're detailing, hyper detailing every single level of depth, it all just looks like mush. And so kind of came out of that. And that also, looking at Dave Gibbons on Watchmen and his economy of line. And then the other name that I should have mentioned was David Mazzucchelli in Batman Year One.
Oh yeah, come
Like
on. Yeah.
he's as much in me as I can possibly do. I will never. I don't use a brush. You know what I mean? Like so, I don't even think we're in the same area. But for whatever reason, something about I think his storytelling maybe and compositions have really like seeped into me, or at
I
least
would say
inspired me.
also the use of light or perspective. I could see that as well.
Cool. Yeah, I
Uh,
love hearing that. I've meant to. I want to just ask people like, who do you see in my art? Just curiosity wise. Joe Mad, Battle
oh
Chasers.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
he's huge. He's where I started leaning like a little bit more in that anime Japanese influence because he was like going hard into it. And then I stepped back from it. I was like, I don't want to be like. I want to be able to draw things like as I see them first, and then find a way to stylize.
What's kind of a similar style, like thinking about drawing blood, and like your work on the Last Ronin and those flashbacks. It's like that's a similar style. It's not like you're like, oh, I'm gonna try to do like a completely different, house
Mm,
style or something for IDW than I do for Image. So
mm.
it's like you have all the hallmarks there, and
Yeah.
I can see what
I,
you're saying about like doing less in there. With
mhm,
like, oh, it's not gonna be like overly done with details.
mhm. My stuff is like it's like hyper detailed, but it needs to be like if you look at the Donnie page in Last Ronin 4, I think I still got it,
My
but it's
favorite,
like
my favorite.
yeah, but it's like I don't know if the camera will even see it, but the detail is like
Oh
bonkers in
wow.
there, but it's still like clean and feels simple almost because it's not over rendered, I think, and
Yeah.
because it's not over hatched and there's not these huge black areas. And a lot of that again comes from using the mechanical pencil. A lot of times I feel like I'm like a little architect or something. The
Uh,
stuff is so
I
tiny. Yeah.
I have so many questions about that specific issue, but like I love
I-
that one because the
yeah.
white contrast of the snow in the cemetery, it's freaking gorgeous.
Yeah, Louise is amazing. The whole everything's purple. Like
Yeah.
obviously. Yeah.
Yeah, everything's
But
purple, so
yeah.
you know. So let's see. I wanted to ask you just about like comics as a kid because we've talked about this a little bit. So you were an action figure collector. What were your influential comics? Like, did you have any issues or anything? I'm gonna
Mhm.
guess Savage Dragon was huge.
All the image stuff really um but the Max more than most of
Oh
the
yeah,
image stuff. I really liked Shadowcat from Image. That's his name, right? Shadow. The metal
Shadowhawk.
guy. Yeah, the metal guy would like break your back.
Oh, Jim Valentino's
Yeah.
Shadowhawk. Yep.
Shadowhawk, I liked him. Metal Wolverine, and
Yeah,
then
kind of.
any Jim Lee, obviously. Like I knew at a young age, I was like, this guy's like an old master. Like he's huge. And my stepbrother loved Spawn. I do love Todd McFarlane, but it's like he loved Spawn so much you weren't allowed to really touch
Oh
it.
yeah,
So I was
it's
like,
my thing.
it
So
was always around. But yeah, Savage Dragon. That's why when I got the chance to do that backup story with Savage Dragon, that was kind of a dream come true too. For sure. Again, those guys just inspiring of like what you can do with comics and do on your own. Super cool.
and Eric
What other
Larson's
some
got a
comics?
history too. He's got a history of doing the inks for Gary Fusco.
Yeah,
On the
yeah.
Image comics. So
Frank
Gary
Fosco.
Frank Fusco. I'm sorry,
Yeah. So
Gary Larson.
Frank
Yeah.
Frank introduced me to Eric Larson. That's how I got the Savage Dragon.
Oh.
Yeah, because Frank was like I was doing I think Bangor Comic Con and he's the nicest guy. He's from Chicago. He sounds exactly like you'd expect.
Yep.
And he was just like, you got to do some Savage Dragon. I was like, I would love to do Savage Dragon. Of course. He's like, well, you got to talk to Eric. I was like, I'd love to talk to Eric. And so he very like old man style would just tag Larson in all my drawings. And I was like, stop doing that. Stop doing that. And then one day I did meet Eric Larson somewhere in the middle there at Heroes Con. I was like, hey, I'm the guy Frank's been. He's like, oh yeah, yeah. And I was like, it's never gonna happen. And then few months after that, I got an email and he's like, I heard a dirty rumor you wanted to work on some Savage Dragon. I was like, oh hell yeah. So, thank you, Frank. That's what happens when you get out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
for the record, I'll put it out there too. My favorite Spider-Man is Eric Larson's Spider-Man, and I
Yeah.
know there's look, I could say Mark Bagley or like I could go there, but it's like I'd be kidding if I didn't say it's like that one issue with him and the Beast on the cover. It's like, come on, Eric Larson, let's go. Yeah,
I'm not sure who's my favorite. I really
it's a
love
tough call, right?
Koipel did him. I like the way he does him, but I don't. He did Spider Verse, Across the Spider Verse, I think, or whatever it was, Web of Spider Verse. But I
He
think
did
he
the
was just a
Silver
couple
Surfer
issues.
once, and I was
Oh,
just like,
Silver
oh my
Surfer was
god,
awesome. Yeah,
like just
that was so
just
good.
bury me now because it's not gonna get any better than that for this character. So
Yeah,
yeah, Koifel was amazing.
Yeah, I love the Max, all the X-Men stuff. I have one issue that stands out that I think was like hugely influential to my art style. Like panel by panel, I would look at it, and I don't even know if it had more than one issue or anything about it. But it was called DV8.
Oh yeah, yep,
Do you remember that?
I
But
do.
there was like one issue, and maybe they switched artists. I don't even know. But this one in particular had like these faces and hair that I think still affect me to this day.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Man, that's awesome. Like to have something that obscure, like when you see it and you're like, yeah, this is just gonna stay with me forever. You know,
Yeah, and
like the
you
first time
don't
I
know
read
what it
Demon
is.
Bear, yeah,
Yeah.
of like, oh wow, Bill Sienkiewicz, this is amazing. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
good luck trying
He's
to replicate that though. So,
Oh my god. Well, that was part of like on Lost Year or Re-Evolution 1, I did like I did 3 spreads, so it's 2, 4, 6 pages, and they all actually connect vertically for no goddamn reason. I just decided to make it more complicated on myself. But the script from Kevin and Tom, Kevin was like, "Yeah, double page spread, no panel borders, just go Sienkiewicz on it." I'm like, "I
oh
am not
wow,
Sienkiewicz." Like the pressure was insane, dude. And then like he already always is like he says that like my part, like the Scorza brothers part is, you know, Frank Miller Dark Knight, and then my part he always says Mazzucchelli, and I'm like, don't even say our names at the same time. But the fact that he says that is amazing to me. And so
that's
he gives me the
fantastic.
strength when he says, yeah, just go Sienkiewicz. I'm like, he thinks I can go Sienkiewicz. So
So that's good. So talking about Tom and Kevin and the script and all that, what was your reaction the first time that you heard or read the script for Last Ronin issue 1? Because you are literally the person that sets up the biggest mystery, the answer to the biggest mystery in issue number 1. Like, what were you like?
yeah, well, already it was spoiled for me. He told me like they on the phone. He was like, "Oh yeah, we're spoiler. Cover your ears." He was like, "Yeah, we're doing the last round. One Star Turtle. It's Mikey." It was like the 4th thing he said or something like that. And I was like, ah.
Okay. You're like,
But
all
as
right.
far as the like page I got to do at that point, my brain was just like, "Wow, I get to draw all 4 turtles," because you don't often get to do that. Even a lot of turtle artists who get on the issues might only have a few pages where there's all 4 or something like that. And so I was like, wow, how honored and lucky am I? And then, you know, obviously the response was insane. And when we were making those books, I think I've mentioned it before last time we talked, it was like one after the next after the next. So when issue 1 came out, I was watching YouTube reviews and the world was like, ah, and I was just like, I'm like, I've made it. I belong here. Like I have what it takes. Because like when you're trying to get work in comics for as long as I was, like I was doing my own books and getting better with each page, but just hearing like, oh, work on this, work on that. Oh, maybe, oh, maybe, oh, maybe. Like when it finally goes well and it's the like entire world that says you guys rocked it, you're just like, yeah, I belong here. And you're
Oh
like,
yeah.
I'm gonna freaking just only worry about doing my best work now instead of worrying about if I belong. And so it was just a freaking crazy time. And I was like, it was a time in my life when Walt talks about in Breaking Bad, when he says, "Oh, that's when I should have died," or something like that. He's at the bar.
Oh,
He's like, "Everything would have." I'm not saying that's when I should have died, but I feel like maybe I did, and that's around when it happened, and the rest has been just vanilla sky. Like it's like,
oh, okay. Or
yeah,
lost or something.
yeah, it's been great. It's hard every single day, and it's stressful, but it's like what I've always wanted. So,
Would you be okay if you're known as, for the Last Ronin?
like just for that, like if I had only died
Yeah,
just
like if
doing.
that's your opus, would that be okay with you? Or you're like, you know what,
Oh, of
man, you
course,
haven't seen nothing yet.
of course. But I do think like if I can have the time someday to like finish all the things I want to finish, I know I'm going to finish at least 7 of them, but there's more, and I feel like if somebody could live forever and like just keep painting or just keep drawing, like imagine the level that would get to, because you get better every single day, like, and it's like sports or something. That's why people get obsessed with like working out. It's like you can see it. And so I'm just like, man, if I had the ability to like tell that story I want to tell, that would really like be huge. But I'm gonna be 40 this year. How long do I have? I don't know. So,
So we're gonna see more aggregate going forward, more
yeah,
split
like
decision.
Aggregate is like what I'm talking about mostly at the tip of my tongue, but even that, like there's other big books. Like there's one that I started right after Nathan the Caveman called Something Like Falling, and I did like 45 pages of it. It's about these like twin brothers like on a road trip across America to find the father they never knew for their mother who gave up hoping he'd ever come home. So I'm drawing this story like highways, cars, different towns. I think they go to Wisconsin, different states. And I had never been to any of these places and didn't know anything about these places or these people and really didn't know how to draw the stuff I wanted to draw yet. And so I just kind of put it away for now. But those kind of stories that I'm like, man, I still want to tell that are now, coincidentally with the title, aggregating into the aggregate. And so if the aggregate book 2 winds up being the last thing I ever get to do, I'll be very happy with that. Yeah.
I did want to point out the Easter egg that I believe I saw was the aggregate showing up with the turtles in the Battle Nexus issue. They're jumping off the roof.
Where
I think
in
it
the Battle
says,
Nexus?
yeah, in the Battle Nexus. Or no, maybe that's in Last Ronin. Okay, it's in Last Ronin.
Oh yeah, it's in at Last Ronin. That's issue 2. Raph
Issue 2.
jump in and it says aggregation.
I have Battle Nexus on the mind.
That's okay. It's literally in everything. In my Savage Dragon issue, the character who's fighting Evil Savage Dragon is a character I created when I was 11. He's called Switchblade, but he throws a giant aggregate head at Savage Dragon to kill him.
Oh, that's so cool.
In the script,
that's awesome.
Larson said he throws like a statue head, like a statue of some god, because they're on a different planet or dimension. And so I thought it was funny, and I drew Eric Larson as like a big stone head. And he was like, I like it, but no. I was like, okay. And so I replaced it with the aggregate head. But yeah, there's Easter eggs everywhere in my stuff, at least. There's radically rearranged running ragdoll stuff and all the turtles stuff. There's drawing blood and all the turtles. The new turtle toys, for example, the new next generation of turtles just came out, and Moja comes with a spider cat, which is from my book, The Aggregate. But I put a little spider cat plushie next to Yi and Odyn in Lost Day when I was at home drawing with the baby. And Trevor from NECA was like, who's this little guy? And I told him what it was, and we snuck it in the toys too. So this is like a little toy Easter egg.
That's so fantastic. I was going to ask about that because I just got.
People are probably like, what the hell is
it Moja? I've been saying Moja. So it's Moja?
I say Moja, but okay. I don't know. I don't really know.
I'm going to go with you. So
we'll
say Moja.
It's Swahili.
Yeah.
So there is a right way, so I'm not sure.
Okay, maybe I'll have to look that up. But yeah. I feel like The Simpsons with Smithers, and he's like, well, maybe my Swahili's not as good as yours, but I love that cat though. That's so cool because I was going through and doing some research, and I'm like, what is this? Like, there's no name. It's not like it's Clunk or anything. It's like, who is this?
Maybe it should be Clump. Maybe we should just assume that's like next generation Clump.
Yeah, exactly.
That's funny.
Fantastic though. I just got my set of the action figures too, and they're fantastic. Like,
good.
Odyn is such a chunk. He's just like a big brick of plastic, and I love it. It's so cool.
He's super heavy.
Oh man, he's great. I gotta figure out how to get his second head on though. I think that's one of the limitations. It's like you can
see me struggling with that in my YouTube video. I don't know if you saw that. Yeah.
There you go.
All the same struggles everyone's posting about. They're like, I can't get Moja's jacket and the head swaps, but you can do the hot water thing. I've been doing that. Yeah. I was deep into toy customization for a long time, and then I was like, I got to get back to comics. Like, I'm not getting anything done. But you heat up. You could even microwave like a mug of hot water and just drop the head in there. It'll go in way easier. Or dunk the head if you're taking one off. But it is scary, like, because if you break it, it's so sad. I have so many broken ankles.
McFarlane collector. That's good.
Yeah.
Man, it's great. I wanted to bug you a bit about the Last Ronin, but like I really do want to talk about the new Turtles because I could not be more excited. Just started issue 1 here. You got to, I think it's page 39. We get to see your art for the first time. And this was the first flashback, but none of us realized it was actually a flashback. because it's kind of like a fever dream or something. Can you take me through the creation of the layout for that page? Just like an idea.
Hmm.
And I know you may not remember it and all that, but you get to design the sewer. You get to design, the bed where the turtle who we don't know is sitting there and the other turtles are around. You know,
Let me get.
where did the sewer idea come to you of like how it would look and that kind of stuff?
We're talking about
Issue 1, I think
Last
it's like
Ronin, issue 1. Yeah,
Last Ronin,
page
yeah.
39. Yeah, I just didn't know if you were talking about the Lost Years sewer or not. No. So this is the page if you're watching on video.
Yep, there we go.
But so Kevin did all the layouts. So
Did he?
he had all the layouts for Last Ronin, both the Escorza brothers and my pages. He did blue and Sharpie in his sketchbooks. And so as far as that, I don't remember how closely I stuck to this. I'm guessing I stuck pretty close because it was the first one we did. Later I start to like, have different ideas, and I was texting Kevin like midway through every panel like 3 or 4 times. He looks awesome, looks awesome. And so by the time we got to Lost Years, he didn't do the layouts and he kind of just set us free. But on this one, so speaking to the layout, I'm not totally sure, but speaking to the layer, I always love adding like, the things that make it feel like their home. There's a bonsai tree, there's pizza boxes, there's a box that says Casey's do not touch, and you see that same box later tip over, and that's where the big sledgehammer comes out of. So he's
Oh,
been
that's
keeping that
fantastic.
sledgehammer in the box in my head canon. Um,
Mikey's
so
got a
yeah,
water bed, it looks like.
yeah, it's a little sunken in there. I like the shelves behind his headrest there. I do the same sort of thing with Yee's bed in Last Ronin 2 Re-Evolution issue 3. You see her like wake up from bed, and it's kind of a nod to this. But that's about it. I've always drawn, the bricks and tubes and wires, and I really got to have a lot of design say later with the Lost Years layer and all the overgrowth and the water and things like that. That
Oh
was
yeah.
like, yeah.
Yeah, and I
But
mean that was one of the things too that I thought was so spectacular. I'm like, what is going on here? Because it's like we do have like a water element, and it looks like there's like a what is this? This is like, oh, go hang out in the solarium where like,
yeah. Well,
there's like all kinds of fun stuff. Yeah.
think about like a turtle terrarium, or
Hmm.
like any like they're not living where. I looked at the globe that the Escorzas did at the end of the Last Ronin issue 5, where you see the little turtles in there, and I was like, their whole layer should be that. And also for me, like, and finding, the emotions and things, Last Ronin is very much like about loss, and Lost Years is very much about like rebirth and hope and love, and trying to do something new. Like it's a good or bad thing whether or not they should have created these turtles, right? That's the big struggle. But they're there for good, and like to do, to live up to the legacy and their hope for the future. You know what I mean? And so with the new life, it's very plant life and all that. And I imagine April just like they got the electricity on, she turned the water on, and they have this whole ecosystem where they grow their own food, and they have their own drinking water and stuff, because they survive like under rock bottom, like they're way down there. um, and it just became this also very good visual element, because each issue of Lost Years is 3 years apart, and so we got to see the turtles grow, but you get to see the sewer grow too, so all the growth keeps getting more and more. And at the same time, the little plant that was on top of the monument with the bandanas and the weapons, that little plant grows in this huge tree and cracks
Yeah.
the monument like when they're ready to go up. It was just like all these like visual ways to make the most out of like my 4 or 6 pages. I gotta squeeze like as much story and as much like enrich as much detail in here as I can. And like, so there's so much stuff like that that just like lives in my brain, but it's like I can't just design an area without having a reason for it. Like, why is there a little mill there? It's like, well, they're making their own, like coffee, like whatever it is.
I didn't even think of it like that, but that's such this April, where she's going to be thinking about how to problem solve, get what
Yeah,
she needs, and of course there's going to be coffee, obviously,
yeah,
with
yeah.
that
She's got
April.
coffee. Yeah,
Yeah.
she gets that from Tinker too, maybe. But
So do you think then, like Casey Marie, who's influenced by the mutagen and all that, do you think these plants are then influenced by that? That's why
yes.
we have
Oh my
such
God, I didn't
okay.
mention that. Yeah. So I was super always been another image in my head is that giant dandelion from Secret of the Ooze.
Hell yeah, Freddy.
And,
Where's
and
Freddy? Yeah.
yeah, and so me and Louise talked about it. I said make these colors as wacky as you want. Like these plants have the mutagen in it too. Like it's basically just like everywhere because Mikey's buried in that ground.
Oh yeah. Makes sense because it's essentially a grave site, so
Yeah,
that's
and that's why that tree
yeah.
is just like in my mind. Again, none of this is official.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I
I think we'll accept that.
I
That's
need a
fine.
reason for like the designs. Every like the red patch they all wear because like the same way Last Ronin has all his brothers talking to him. As soon as they lose Raph, they all carry a piece of him with them, and like
Yeah,
so
they
to
do.
have like a visual representation of that. That's why you see Leo going complete berserker mode. He's like part Raph now. You know, and then it gets gradually worse and worse until you become the Last Ronin.
Well, I mean, he was stoic at the end there,
Yeah,
like
of
he knew
course.
what
He's
was
part
coming.
Raph.
Yeah.
The angry
So
part.
I so want to dive into the new turtles, and I'm probably going to cut a couple things out so I can get there. But I
Okay.
have to ask you about like the designs for the Last Ronin characters, Leonardo, Casey Jones, Raph, Donnie, Mikey, and all that. Like, because we got like to see full versions of these with the NECA action figures,
Yeah,
and I
crazy.
swear I'm going to be buried with that Leonardo one. It's my favorite action figure of all time.
So solid. They sent me that prototype too, like long
Oh
ago. So
yeah.
that's one of the ones that's like a cherished possession for me.
What was the idea with that design for Leo? Because the first time we saw him in the flashback, he had a trench coat and all that.
Yeah.
Like utilitarian designs, like what are you thinking with Leo here?
So Kevin came with ideas for those too, like all of them. He knew that he wanted in the first issue, his RAF was pretty much what we used. Again, I was
Okay.
like, okay, we're gonna do exactly, what you got here. And then when I think maybe I started proving myself or whatever, he'd like loosen it a little bit because he always says like never turn down a good idea. So I would send him stuff. He'd be like, oh, awesome, awesome, and then he'd have a say and I'd have a say. So he knew for issue 4, Donnie would be like, for example, in like traditional, more like a gi sort of Japanese outfit. But he left it to me to like strap it and like how does it actually buckle in and stuff like that.
You
And
gave him
he
the
did
hat?
that. He had a hat, so
Ah,
he was like, here's the hat. Like he had he has a drawing of it. I think it's in the director's cut. And it was so hard for me at first to make that badass. I was struggling. I was like, how is this gonna look good? And then I started looking back at the Mirage stuff when they made that very badass, or like the Frank Miller Ronin stuff, where like the basket head guys in that were completely badass. Like then it suddenly switched for me, and it was all super badass. Like when Donnie tips his head down, and all you see is like the white of his eyes. It's so cool. But for Leo, yeah, Kevin had the trench coat in issue 2. He knew he wanted that. In issue 3, the idea was that like Leo and Casey, I think, have like their own strike force.
oh, okay.
And so that's what you're seeing with like I hid like a Kino in there and like these different like characters
A
who
guy
used to.
with like a metalhead sort of helmet that looks like Leo.
Yeah, that's my Venus. So
Okay.
basically, I was thinking of like Iron Man or something. Like if there's like this tech out there, and there's turtles who are now out in the open, like protecting people. Like they're not in the sewers hiding anymore. I got to draw some really cool like. I think this is number 3 in the subway. Mikey's like shielding the humans like with his shell. Like we never got to see him do that with like rocks falling, and I
Yeah.
just thought that was so cool. It's like a Superman moment or something. Like they are the superheroes. So that character you see that looks like an Iron Man, Leonardo, is inspired by the turtles, and she builds her own suit, and that's Venus in my mind. And so just
That's
to have
cool.
like this excuse for different characters, but factually, a lot of them are ex Purple Dragons. So you'll see the Purple Dragon tattoos. And then I looked a lot at Dark Leo. I looked at San Luco's design for Dark Leo mostly. Like that combined with some tactical gear is kind of where we landed. Odin still
Explains the
wears,
scarf. So yeah.
yeah, Odin wears his scarf and he wears his strap. That's the same strap Leo has.
Wait a second. Odin is wearing Leonardo's scarf?
Yeah, he's got the
Come
same.
on.
Yeah,
Yes. Oh, I love that.
yeah.
That made my friggin' day. So
It's yeah, it's all legacy, man. Like I couldn't relate to the story more, of course. Like for to be asked to work on this and to work with Kevin and Pete and everybody is like every day you're just like, how do I do my absolute fucking best? Like,
So did they have the sigil, like the family clan Hamato sigil, or did you get to create that too?
well, Kevin wanted to use for Donnie and Splinter in issue 4. At the time, he made it sound like to me just like a fun Easter egg to use the Usagi 3 dot.
Oh, yeah.
Remember? But then when you get to town, like when they fly in the jet, I do have banners. Donnie came with one of the banners, and it
Yep.
shows like kind of half of a. I got
Don't
it up
have that
here.
close. Yeah.
It shows like half of the Amato
Yes.
because that's the real. That was from like cartoon, and when you see that. But
It
then
was
we
on
also have.
Splinter's kimono and
Yeah. So I'd seen that before and kind of integrated it with the 3 dot thing, and then we had to go further when we got to Last Ronin 2 Re-Evolution and issue 5. I have this one page where you see this flashback of Mikey giving the patch to
yes.
Casey Marie, and so in mine I like kind of combined the two, and so again in my head canon, because we only have so many pages and who knows, but in my head canon a long time ago there was this like kind of merging, or at least this understanding between whatever Usagi's clan is and the Amato clan, and they've always been out for each other, looking out for each other.
And they still
So,
have a bit of ways to go. Like when Tom and Kevin give us this next Last Ronin 3, they've got a little bit to explain just what's going on with Clan Hamato and all that, because they
yeah,
exist.
we just reintroduced
We,
it into
yeah, like,
Re-Evolution, so we'll be getting some of that.
are we gonna find out what happened to Master Yip and like all that? So it's like,
Probably,
yeah,
probably.
I mean,
There's I talked about my YouTube. I talked about Battle Nexus. Battle Nexus, that situation kind of brought me back to YouTube. But I started the YouTube 6 months before that with that last page of Last Run 2 Re-Evolution, and it was because of the same kind of stress ball. Because Tom had written me 4 different pages than what you saw in Last Run
ooh,
2 Re-Evolution, and it was very much about the Amato clan. And so
oh,
I can tell you, because I think Tom would say the same thing, because he would spill more, but we'll be learning more about all that. And
oh, we lost him for a second there. Bear with us, folks.
hey,
Oh, there
sorry,
you go.
somebody called.
Oh, you were just telling us about the
Can you
Hamato
hear me?
clan.
I can't hear you.
Yes. Yep, I can hear you.
1 sec. Oh, the heck. I'm gonna have to refresh, I think. Is that okay?
Yeah, go for it. Technical difficulties that hopefully you'll never hear.
Uh,
All right.
Call came to the iPad and just shut everything down. Thanks.
It's okay.
Here we are.
So
So,
you were just telling us 4 alternate pages that Tom Waltz sent over about Clan
yeah,
Hamato.
yeah, yeah. That almost seemed planned, like it cut out my spoiler.
Yeah.
Yeah. uh, Yeah, so the hope is to use them, but they were some really cool pages about a lot of the stuff you're wondering. So
That's really cool. Um, I wanted to ask you about your Splinter and just how you got the idea for that little Snoopy nose at the end and all that. Like, where does that come from?
yeah, I didn't. I've always drawn him like that. If you look back at like old commissions and stuff when I was trying to get in, and I figured it out, but it's definitely from Secret of the Nim and the way that
Oh,
they
yes.
drew that. And then kind of anything from that area, like I think they would do the nose like that, like you said, like almost like Goofy or Um, so I'd always done it like that, and it didn't really seem that weird to me. But now it exists again in action figure form. It's freaking amazing. and
Oh,
and
it's
Santa
so
Luco
good.
confessed to me. It wasn't really a confession, but I was like, I'll remember it forever. He told me, "Yeah, I do like your Splinter." I was like, "Oh, thanks." But I can't be the only
That's
one
so
that
cool.
does it like that. There must be some Mirage precedent that I'm not thinking of, or somebody who's done it that way. Maybe the animated series is close to that, right? I
It
don't
could
know.
be. I mean, they have like
Um,
a bigger sort of nose, but like no one
Yeah.
does like that little sniffer on the end, you know?
Yeah, like yeah. I
Maybe
love that.
Dooney. I don't know. Maybe Michael Dooney.
Well, I'm
I'll have
glad
to
they
look
let
into
me
that.
do it, and they didn't just go like, "What the hell are you doing?" Like that's what's
Oh,
great
it's so
about
cool.
Turtles is like you get to do it your way.
Yeah, and every story is kind of like a different iteration, and it's like that goes all the way back to Mirage, where it's like
Yeah,
issue 4. It's like, guess what, guys? We're completely different now. Oh, okay. I'm gonna roll with
yeah,
this. So
yeah, because you want to discover other art and like keep it fresh, and it's cool.
I did notice a big Kahuna Burger T-shirt on Baxter Stockman,
Yeah.
in there. So a big fan of Pulp Fiction, are you?
Yeah, but I was also trying to put it out into the world. I was like, Sam Jackson's a comic fan. I was like, he saw the Ultimates comic and said, I'm gonna be Nick Fury. I was like,
Yeah, he did.
I'm putting him in this so that he says, I'm gonna be Baxter Stockman.
Oh, so that was
And
intentional.
yeah, I think Kevin had mentioned too, like he's Sam Jackson. And so I tried really hard to like make it look like a character he would play, and I thought a lot about his design too. Like he's all really gnarly. He's got these crazy fingernails because we weren't going to go with like this bug version, but I
Yeah.
wanted to allude to the bug in like a Jeff Goldblum the Fly kind of way. And I've also seen people who are like under great duress or stress or they're just villain terrible people their whole lives and what that does to them physically. And so I just like sunk it all in. His teeth are all messed up. He's just like been hunting these turtles forever and will do it the rest of his life. And so gradually he gets worse, 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 worse as you see him like with the Escorzas have him all, Deathstroke and cyborgy and so that was kind of the thought there. And then as far as like a fly nod, if you look closely, he's got the fly chair.
Hmm.
So if you look closely at his like office chair, it's like hovering and the back of it is a face of a fly. And then I gave him some mud flaps that say buzz off. So
That's fantastic. And he had
yeah.
kind of like the same 3 dots on his head like Honeycutt had, and they kind of throw
Yeah.
that back. So
Yeah.
it's cool. It's cool design.
Yeah. Thanks. I
I
was
happen to
thinking
think he's one of the best villains that we encounter, and I just love that it's like you got a
ever or
chance to
like
take a
in
look.
Ronin.
Well, I would say in Turtles, like, because
Okay.
if Shredder's number 1, right, like who's right up there? It's got to be
Mhm.
Baxter Stockman, because he's
Yeah,
like their eternal fly in the ointment, you know.
exactly. Yeah.
So, if
Yeah, and
that's
then when him and Shredder work together, or him and Oroku, like it's perfect storm,
Yeah, I'm a big Baxter guy, and I think that was one of the things the Bay films actually did decent is when they got Tyler Perry to play Baxter Stockman.
Yeah.
Not a popular opinion, not a popular film, but I think it's pretty good.
I, that's the second one, right?
Yeah, second one.
Yeah, second one, like nobody went because they did the first one so bad, and it was
Yeah.
unfortunate. It was unfortunate that they like had already set what their turtles looked like and because if they had just started with that movie, but they got to design them, maybe so they could fit through manhole covers, maybe so that a kid can remember what they actually look like and draw them, maybe so they're not wearing 1,000 different necklaces and like that movie would have been great. The Bebop and Rocksteady stuff was perfect.
I
Like
loved it. Yeah,
the
so good.
jokes, the sound, the score even sounded
Hmm.
like the playful trumpet music from the cartoon. Like it was like I was here for it, but they had already done like one that was not good.
Yeah,
Like,
they're like, oh well, we got William Fitchner, so it's like, oh, okay, yeah, it's like,
I got to see
what's your take on
Krang.
this? Because
Yeah.
you did talk a little bit about getting to draw the Bay Turtles and all that. In your opinion, is the turtle's face a beak? Like, why do we not see nostrils on every in sort of occurrence? And like, where's your take on that? Because I'm like anti-nostril.
Yeah, I'm never nostrils.
Never. You know,
Yeah. I
it
don't
just
think
it
it's
doesn't look great.
necessary. No, it's like a design wise, it's something like in the middle of the two things you need to see, which is like the mouth and the eyes. Like you don't need to see the nose for any reason. And we can suspend our disbelief of how they breathe the same way we can suspend our disbelief of how they hear.
Yeah,
Do you have
exactly.
ears? Yeah,
We
I
have ear
understand that
holes that are
turtles.
covered over, but it's
Yeah,
like, yeah, nah,
I
we don't need
understand
that.
turtles have nostrils, but humans have lips. And were you happy when our turtles got lips? Probably not.
Oh,
No.
oh,
Like there's certain things that come through the mutation and certain things that don't. And so yeah, no nostrils for me. I've been more and more like as I was designing the new turtles and I was leaning more on the beak, more on the beak. Going back to that first Last Ronin page, I mentioned that Kevin did the layout. Then I would do my rough and then send it to them and say, okay, what do you think of this? And if they liked it, I would go to my final, which would be my inks or my final mechanical pencil. But the one and only note Kevin had, which is sticking with me for the rest of my life, wider, wider, wider. And it was like very much like the IDW gumdrop head.
Yep.
And he had drawn 2 Sharpie lines on a photocopy of that page.
Make it even bigger.
Wider, wider. And I was like, okay. And so from that point on, anytime I draw turtle head, if I make it a little bit wider, it's like, oh my God, it just like it works. Like suddenly I'm like, oh my God. Like, so I've been leaning on that. I mean, you can't go too wide, obviously, but that's something I think about with the new turtle designs. When I was doing that, I was like thinking about, different head shapes first of all, but like the classic being a wide head shape, but also the beak. Like even the Henson suits have like this big beak, and a lot of artists when they do like the profile turtles might forget about that. And so I like to do the beak. I started doing the middle line on Yi and Uno sometimes, just to show that there is like some high point there. And that was something I think I saw San Luco doing, and I mentioned it to him. I was like, "Oh, I'm doing that middle line." He's like, "Yeah." we think of like all the stuff that nobody cares or thinks about. Like,
Well, he was the first one to really take a look at them and give them like a different like body type and all that,
yeah,
because
he
that
made
his predates the Serio 2012 version.
yeah.
So like, and when I talked to him about it, he was like, "Oh yeah, they're all different. I've been having it in here forever."
Yeah. Yeah, he made sure all the bandanas were different, which is something I do because of that. And I think I use similar shapes to what he set at around volume 6 and 7, the Dark Leo stuff, the City Fall.
Yeah.
Because Mikey, I always do like this round on each side. It goes down like this, but it's round, round, round. And then Raph is jagged, jagged, jagged. My Donnie goes over, down, over, which is more of like a Ciro Neely thing, I think, like the big. And then Leo is my classic. Like I try to just straight.
Straight across. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're
And
showing their personalities in every aspect of the masks too.
yeah. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
And that's something I picked up from him that he was doing already. Another thing he did or does that I don't know if anyone really looks at that hard, but he started putting like this bend right here in the plastron. So you see these like 2 lines, which is genius because your muscles do that anyway. Like if you were to draw like on a human. So he does it on the turtles, but it's also genius because they're constantly moving. And if they're just the square here, they're never gonna get forward. So he like thought about all that. You can see it in Secret History of the Foot. That's what I really was like, oh my God, I gotta draw turtles. Like when I saw his Secret History of the Foot. And then he's been like, molding his turtles ever since then. But that's when he had like figured it all out. Their shells went like really up high in the back, which was a big inspiration for me on Uno. I wanted him to be the one that could actually almost go into his shell. So he could.
He's got that bump in the front too, like almost like a turtleneck sort of.
Yeah, and he can think about that as like a ninja. It's freaking amazing.
Oh, it's like a built-in ninja mask. Okay.
Yeah, you're just yeah. So I love all that stuff, and we think about it a lot. Yeah.
I have, of course, with
There it
me
is.
the baby book from the Bishkids Club, which had like the designs in it and all that, and going through some that made it, some that didn't. They're all friggin' adorable on here. I just wanted to talk to you about like the designs for some of the turtles. So if we were to talk about Yi, looks like Yi originally went by the name of Arya.
Yeah.
On this. Jack-o'-lantern smile. She's like a little sort of bundle of joy, precocious little thing. So the decision to make the arms a little bit more spindly on that, what was that like?
So all 12 of these designs are before I had any inclination on any character or personality or anything. Like it was just go, and I decided to do 12 instead of. I could have just done 4 and gone, hey, what do you think? And then there would have been notes and this, that. And so I wanted to like get out all my ideas. So I ended up doing 12, 3 sets of 4. And so I didn't really know anything personality wise what she was going to be like, but you can see it in the drawing. Like I'm if you look at Zeke in there, the teen version of Zeke, like I was like, this one would be the one to become a villain. And then, and then, so with her, with Arya at the time, I knew she was just like the little runt. She was playful. Her teeth are all like weird, like mine. And I think that kind of like playfulness, like spoke to, Tom and Kevin. And,
I can see that, yeah.
and then
Turtle
for
porn.
her design and stuff, like the circles on her arms, like even the circles around her eyes, like this was again at this time when I was like at this like on this cloud, like cloud of creativity. Like I was saying like everything's coming up. Bishar, when they first told me about Lost Day, the editor was like, "So how you feeling?" He was like holding the door open for me, and I was like, "I'm fine." I was like, "I'm invincible." Like I was like everything was perfect. Like I like soon the stress and the reality hit, but at that time I was just like letting myself draw like whatever came out. And so for her, those lines you see, those design lines are the actual lines like you make when you're drawing like an arm. You go, okay, or when you're drawing around the eyes and the eye socket and stuff. And so all their designs, the ones that got chosen, and 90% of what's in that book was based on like what feels good for me as I'm drawing it. Like this line actually just feels good, like from a deep level. Like it's so weird. And I was like, I think if it feels good to make, it's gonna look good, and then that's gonna resonate. And I had like the window of time to just do my best. It was around GraniteCon. It was the big one too. It was the one of the ones San Luco came to, and he stayed at my house the week after with his wife, and we got to like look over the turtle designs, and it was incredible, an incredible time.
That's so cool.
But
And for people who don't get to see him and all that, basically it's like walking into the room and you look at this guy and it's like that's the Shredder. I know that it's the Shredder
yeah,
because he looks like that. He's got such an imposing presence and all that. So,
yeah,
you know, but he's the
he's,
nicest dude. So,
yeah, he's king.
man, that's fantastic. Like it's nice to hear that like such a contemporary sort of influence too. You know, I wouldn't have guessed. I'd be like, well, you guys came out at the same time, right?
Yeah,
It's
well,
like,
yeah. I mean, when I saw his turtle stuff, I was like I was already drawing turtle stuff my whole life, obviously, but not like focused on how do I get that job too. And when I saw his, I was like, that's exactly the kind of turtle stuff I want to read. And I was like, and that I would want to draw. And so, yeah, I just was like, I love the wraps, I love the bandanas, I love all that. So, and then I met him, and we met at San Diego Comic Con like years before, maybe 2 years before I even got a real cover. But I was like hanging with the IDW crowd and turtle people and things like that. And we became like instant friends. We went to the San Diego Zoo the next day.
oh, that's so cool.
Like,
That's awesome.
yeah, he signed my like big artist edition shredder, A Secret History of the Foot, I think it is. Yeah. So it was amazing.
That is
But to have
incredible.
him there and have GraniteCon, which was like a huge turtle show, especially that year, as I was doing these designs, I was able to show uh, Corey at the bar. I was able to show, you know, Steve, and just get people's takes on these sets of four. I had 4 sets or 3 sets of 4 turtles, both teen and baby, because we knew they were going to grow. And I would get like, oh, who's your favorite? Take your pick. Who's your favorite? Who's your favorite? And like a lot of people kept picking the same ones. And that's when I was like, oh shit, we're onto something. And then ultimately, I think Nickelodeon, Kevin, Tom, and IDW were the ones who are like, these are the ones. But it wound up being like the 4. We knew as soon as Tom saw Baby Odin, it was done. He was like, that one. I think
Yeah.
Baby Odin was a little stronger than Teen Odin at the time, but it was like, you got to take bold. And so my Teen Odin has kind of changed from that first height chart you've seen, but not that much. But the baby one was like, that one I think is the cutest baby I drew. I was like, oh my god, it's the recipe for Grogu and what's his face? Who's the recipe for Grogu? Mogwai. Yeah. So
Oh,
it's just
and
the big
Gizmo.
eyes, the
Yeah.
small mouth, and a little bit of a football head, and it's gonna be cute.
I like it. You had the Hey Arnold reference in here,
Yeah.
and I love that you mentioned Grogu. That's gonna be my final thing. I'll go on here. So, I don't know if we'll ever have this happen, but if we ever had like a Ninja Turtles and Star Wars crossover, where do you see these characters? Like, is Leo a Jedi? Is Raph a Sith? Like, where does Donnie fit in on this? What's your
Mm.
take on Turtles if it crosses over and where they would fall?
I've never thought about it until this moment, so I'm just like thinking. But I think a lot of the space stuff was inspired by Star Wars, right? Like
Oh,
back
of
in the
course,
day.
yes.
Yeah, so immediately I thought like they're with Fugitoid
Hmm.
instead of like C3PO. And I wouldn't want it to be just like a spoof, like a, oh, this character's like that character, this character's like that character kind of crossover. I would want it to be like a story thing, like they wound up on the same planet or on the same distant galaxy. But I
So you
think they
go
would,
like classic Mirage almost crossover. So with it.
yeah, I would let it be like a real story where they met the real people and not just like this is Luke Leo and Darth Vader Shredder. Like I don't love those as much. Um, and I think it could be cool to see the badass Star Wars characters, maybe some new Sith that have some tie to the turtle world. Like I was writing before I got before I started with for real in Turtles at IDW. What I was pitching was TMN10, which is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Ben 10, the world's largest two
Oh
franchises.
wow.
And I wrote 6 issues of it, and so Dimension X is the Null Void, the Rust Bucket, the Turtle Van. Grandpa Max and Splinter already knew each other. Look at Gwen and Kevin, and then Casey and April. It's like
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
and so it like was just primed to exist in the same way. And when you find out that like the DN aliens have this, they're actually Krang. Like they're just known by different names in different places. Maybe there's some stuff like that with Star Wars that would be fun to explore.
Can we get that book? Like
I
what would
would
you
like
have to
that.
do?
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
Lightsaber nunchucks. Come on.
Ah, yeah. I mean, I feel like they tried that with Fast Forward, but that's
Yeah.
fantastic. I mean, I had mentioned that you're the original Bish Kid. Obviously, we have the Bish Kids Club and all that, where there's like a really robust community of a lot of awesome people.
Yeah.
And I've been a member for a while, and I mean, I have met so many great people in this club.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about the Bish Club and just kind of like where that
Yeah.
came from?
This year is 10 years. It's been 10 years of
Wow.
Bish Kids. Started it way back when Patreon was kind of coming out. And I knew that I wanted to make my book the Aggregate. And so I kind of was like, how am I going to raise money to make the Aggregate? And I was like, oh, I'll get a Patreon. I really believed in it. And I still do, like the $5, these micropayments that kind of build up to mean something. And you also grow your fan base at the same time. And it was perfect. But when I launched one for my book, it was like, well, I'm never going to make enough to afford days to do pages on Patreon. I think I'll need a Kickstarter for that. So I was like, I don't want to do both of those. So I took my Patreon down 10 years ago, and was started building like a Kickstarter. But along the same time, I was like, I still believe in that model, and I could still offer things like on the monthly and perks and discounts and this and that. And so I went off the grid and like made my own. I used this like back end recurring payment website called Moon Clerk that I can make my own form, and I've used the same one for 10 years. It's just an ugly form on my website to sign up for the club, It's not, it's no pictures because I don't know any HTML. And then yeah, so that started as a monthly club, and so it was like $25 or less. So 25 you would get the box and you pay every month, and you would get a Bish box every single month. And in the Bish box was like comic variants or prints or different things.
Watching.
Yeah, from back in the day. Back in the day, it was just brown, cardboard. They weren't so cool looking. And I actually wasn't making the thing specifically for the boxes. I was going through with a spreadsheet to go, okay, what does Chris already have? What does Ryan already have? And I was trying to do that every month while making comics, while doing this, while doing that. And it got to the point when we got to about like 50 members where I was like, this is insane. I'm not gonna be able to do this. I started getting some help with the spreadsheets, but I didn't completely change anything yet. And it wasn't until we were about to max out the Facebook Messenger limit. You could only have 150 people in Messenger, but I was like, we gotta figure something else out. And so I used that opportunity to switch to Discord and also switch to quarterly, so that I wasn't making the boxes as often. It was still a monthly club, but they would come out every 3 months. And I also decided that everything in those boxes would be made just for that box. Like, so that way I knew that nobody already had it. And so I've been doing that now in that structure for probably like 8 of these years, 8 of the 10. And it, at its height during Ronin, it was like 375 members. It's crazy.
Wow.
Right now, I think we're 200 or so, which is great. It's still amazing. Like when we were at 32, I think I was like, holy crap. And so I'm just now like, I've been so busy like for years and years, and I'm like trying to like refocus on the club. Like the boxes have been a little late. The next box that's coming is Q3 and Q4 of 2025. So Q3 will be late, but Q4 will be right on time. And
We
so,
just got one though, you know.
yeah, but that was late.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah. So I'm getting back on track. I'm trying to make it as exciting as possible because once you're in, like once you start getting these boxes, you're like, oh my God, like the value is insane. Like first of all, like what you want to, if you ever want to like flip one of the things or two of the things in the box, like you can probably make your money back on that compared to what you spent on the box because it'll be like $75 a box essentially. Um, and then outside of that, like you said, the people in the actual club is like what during COVID, like that's what everyone was like, oh my God, like best friends were made, best men in
Definitely.
weddings, like just like huge like real friendships and that community aspect of it was really big and not to say it's not now, but I haven't been admittedly as like in there as I want to be. So I'm excited to, kind of give it a re-evolution in 2026 and going into our 10-year. So, but
Wow.
everything that's been coming in the boxes has been great still. And there's discounts, there's early access if I do like a big drop. So check it out. And I'm glad you
Prints,
like it.
metal comics, yeah.
Yeah.
What's your favorite piece of merch that you've put in there?
Yeah, like I've got to do puzzles. There's one of the really high-end puzzle I made once with like a nice magnetic box. And like I get really into that, like the packaging of it all. And like you saw the printed box, like I have a lot of fun with
Oh yeah,
the box designs. And then
the
a lot of
boxes are
times
great.
I would do like a 3 print set, like process. So you get one print of pencils, then the finals, and then the colors, but they come in like a nice envelope and that obviously like costs more and but I think it's cool. I think it matters. And I think if you're gonna have like this nice thing that later like a fan could throw on eBay if they needed to, or hopefully if I do my job right, all my stuff goes up in value and you guys are all set. Like that's what I'm hoping is like everything I've ever done will be like it's a good investment for them, it's a good investment for me. Like yeah.
So obviously, everyone listening, you should go to bishart.net to sign up for the Bish Kids Club. You should.
Yeah.
There's tier levels on there, and
Yeah.
you can take a look there. I'll just tell you, full disclosure, I've been on there for years. I love it. I don't anticipate leaving anytime soon. And the cool thing is, there's a really good community on Discord where you can interact with the man himself.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
And during con seasons and stuff, like we try to actually get as many people in the club like at the same shows. Like they'll be able to say like, "Hey, I'm gonna be at Motor City. Who else is going?" Blah blah blah. And they'll like get together and meet up and hang out. Granite Con, I think we had our record. This was the
Oh
year
yeah,
that I'm mentioning when I was doing the turtle designs. I think there was like 60 Bish kids there at one time. It was wild. Like in real
that's
life,
crazy.
some people we'd never met before. It's cool.
Yeah, and I was there in 24, and we all had dinner together.
Yeah,
It's great.
that was a
So.
big year too. Yeah.
So, with next work, can I assume that it'll be the Last Ronin 3? I assume.
Yeah, I'm already doing. I've already drawn a couple pages of something, and
Woo.
I can't say if it's three or if it's something else. But the Squares Brothers just posted a little sketch of Last Ronin, so you guys can figure it
It's
out.
like it's one of those things where like everyone knows it's coming if you've read the end in the last issue of Last Ronin 2 Re-Evolution. You're like, yeah, we know it's coming. They're not going to leave us hanging. So,
Yeah,
not
and I've
really a
got.
spoiler.
So I'm doing that. I just finished Battle Nexus, which when you're working on it, feels like I'm never gonna finish this. I'm doomed. And then now that it's done, I'm like, well, I should just try to relax while I'm making these things. And so working on that. But Drawing Blood, I'm almost done Drawing Blood.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
The volume 2, as far as like 5 through 8, that's been done. It's done. I think Kevin and Team Eastman, they're working on the fulfillment with the Clover Press, I believe, and figuring out like what backers are getting what and all that. But the image releases have been coming out, so issue 10 is either out or just came out, but I have the comp here, so I'm working on 11 and 12, and then it's over, and again that's 10 years too. So it's just like something's
That
coming
is
after these
such an
10 years.
awesome book. And
I know.
do you think David Abalone is the best dressed writer in all of comics?
Maybe. Yeah,
He might
maybe.
be.
Yeah, as far as writers, they're a bunch of slobs. No, I'm just kidding. I was gonna say
Take
Temple
that,
Smith
Eric
always
Burnham.
wears a
That's
suit.
good.
Yeah. No.
That's fantastic, man. Um,
Um.
I
Yeah.
I want to thank you for being on. Like I said, it's technically your third appearance on the show, but just to get to deep dive into some of the stuff, it's like I've had real questions about that Iron Man Leonardo helmet for years. So,
Mhm.
thanks so much
Well,
for coming on and getting to talk to us.
of course, and if you want to look at that stuff and have your own head canon, that's good too. That was just mine. But if you are like, oh, I always thought that was such and such, like you can have that too, man. Yeah, yeah. As far as the Robo Turtle, but I really appreciate you having me. It's good to deep dive. We're gonna do a deeper one day. I said this on our phone call, but just so everyone knows, Justin and I have plans to go through every issue, all the Easter eggs, and just ramble about what was going on and all that.
This time we just had to get the other stuff out. So,
Yeah, it's been a long
we'll get
time.
there.
Yeah, we said because we did it around issue 2, I think, and then we said we should do one for every issue, and then things just got busy for both of us.
Yeah, life happens. You've got your own little mutants now. So, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. She just went poo poo the first time in the potty today.
All right.
Yeah, so it's
That's
another milestone
fantastic.
there. Mhm.
All right. Well, with that, I'm going to end here. And
Nice.
for all the listeners, you'll be back with your pizza recipe of the day. But otherwise, for the viewers on YouTube, we will catch you next time.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Jess.